Hi, I'm Nick Wild. I'm in Year 10 and I created the Chasing Dreams podcast and the Spy Spray ad.
How did you come up with the idea and did you have any inspiration?
My inspiration for Chasing Dreams just comes from being inspired to interview people who have a story to tell. It also comes from people, from Hollywood and all that, the Jameses of the world. So you got Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all those guys who are doing all those interview shows. And I kind of want my own one day. And in terms of the ad, the Spy Spray ad, I was very influenced by the 70s and 80s kind of hairspray ads and all that. And I was inspired by, current days of being a teenager and wanting to look your best and being Mr. Cool and Mr. Popular.
What media codes and conventions did you focus on to engage your audience?
So the media codes and conventions that I used were along the lines. In terms of Chasing Dreams, I used just lighting techniques, microphone. I used images as well from photos from my first episode. It was Renee Gehring. I used photos from her life, from when she was a student here at Christian College to now. And for the Spy Spray ad, I used colour, lighting again, camera angles, and all that to get the best looking ad I could get for what I am using.
How did you refine your product and what did you learn along the way?
Well, I learned that you can't do everything with an iPhone 13, even with 3 cameras. But I also learned with Chasing Dreams, I learned a lot from that first episode, just more or less how to do a podcast in general. And I learned a lot about sound, editing, and all that. And same with the Spy Spray ad. I was pretty happy with the final product, but and I'm pretty proud of everybody who was involved with it. So most of the media night crew cast and my dad and my brother were also involved in it, and I was pretty happy with the final product. Even though I think if I was to improve it next time, I would probably use a different editing software and probably a higher quality camera.
This is Tim. He's a bit of a loser. His hair is just not cutting it for him. However, with the all-new male hairspray, Tim can go from biggest loser to the coolest winner. So why don't you try it? And become your own celebrity with the all-new Spy Spray.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Nick Wild, your host. Welcome to Chasing Dreams. This is the new CCG podcast where I will be taking you through the incredible, inspiring and successful life stories of some of our past and present members of Christian College. Today I had the pleasure of interviewing one of my past teachers, Renee Gehring, who is an AFLW superstar physical educations teacher and now is a future mother to a potential future AFL star. The podcast went really well and she gave me everything I needed and it was amazing, and I want to say just again thank you so much for helping me out with that. But you know what, enough said, let's just cut to it. Enjoy the podcast. Is Renee Gehring. How you doing, Renee?
I'm doing very well, Nick. I'm excited to be here.
Fabulous. All right. So just first up, you were a very skilled netballer in your past years, and can you tell us what was the transition like from going from, I guess you'd say, the netball court to the football field?
Yeah, it was not an easy one, that's for sure. I played netball for, it was 28 years of my life before I took up footy, so Obviously when I was little I started, I think when I was at netter level as a junior, so not all those years playing, but look, you know, it was one that was challenging and lots of new skills to pick up. Football wasn't something that I'd done through school really. We had one day a year where we got to play as females, and loved that day every year. And I did Auskick with my little brother, one of the only girls in that program growing up as well, but just really tasters of the sport. So to pick it up and to take it on, there was certainly lots of learning along the way.
Yeah, but with stuff like netball and football, I mean, I guess some similarities you could put between them. They're both team player games, and in netball and football, since netball, have you evolved as like being someone who basically you could say being somebody who's just there to help, or to someone who is a true leader?
I think certainly, yeah, from my first year of footy to now, I've certainly grown a long way in my understanding of the game. I'm a PE teacher, so we try and have a general understanding of all sports and a capacity to teach them. But when it came to footy, understanding the game and the strategies behind it, and then really the underpinning skills was something that I had to develop myself before I felt like I could go and give feedback to other players. And I was really lucky to be in the leadership group in my first couple of years when we were in the VFLW, and then in the AFLW in the first few years as well. So I've been given those opportunities at the Cats to be able to do that, which has been great.
Perfect. For the school, you also became a school captain in year 12 for the school as well. But I know that through your schooling years, it has positives and negatives, and I know that especially through some of your younger years down here at middle school, you struggled a lot with your body image, and guys making comments about about certain things, and I just want to hear your point on that.
I wasn't school captain. I was a leader at senior school. I was very lucky to be one of the prefects, but Mia Cathieris, our now chaplain, a very worthy school captain and was a great leader during that time. But I had some struggles, I think, like a lot of young people do, and I think that's part of the reason I want to be a teacher, is to be there for young people through the different challenges of adolescence, and there are many. Body image can be one of them, and certainly other people can have an impact on our body image and how we feel, our self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves. And yeah, particularly through the middle years, there was girls and boys in their attitudes, but girls have made comments around my body type as compared to other people. I've always been quite fit and muscular, and that's just naturally how I am, and then obviously playing a lot of sport contributes to that as well. But yeah, certain comments that certainly stuck with me, that I had to develop strategies to work through, is something that I'm encouraging, and you want to hear the positive messaging, and also try and avoid people saying things that can have a significant impact on other people's lives. I think once I got told like I'd never look nice in a dress by one of my peers, and I still remember that, and I use that talking to students now, is someone said that to me, not thinking about the impact it could have.
Exactly.
I've now learnt and over the years learnt the self-talk to realise actually what's the truth and what matters, and who I should be listening to, and the things that are important to me, to make sure that we are building our own self-esteem and positive body image. But lots of learning along the way, and certainly that's what I can hope that I'm doing now in the classroom.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Chasing Dreams. Tune in next time to see what stories will inspire you. And of course, I'm your host Nick Wild, and you keep chasing those dreams. I'll catch you later.
Tell us your name, your level, and what you made.
So my name's Alex. I'm in year 12, and I made a advertisement for Burberry.
How did you come up with the idea, and did you have any inspiration?
I came up with the idea because mainly centered around a pair of sunglasses that I had, and I love like the contemporary style of Burberry and the high-end fashion. So I really wanted to take a modern contemporary style on it. So yeah.
What media codes and conventions did you focus on to engage your audience?
I really focused on like negative space within the background of the advertisement, while including like with this photo, it's like a vertical leading line going up the tree, which I really loved. So yeah.
How did you refine your product and what did you learn along the way?
So these photos really capture the refinement process. So I originally wanted to capture like a material flowing. However, during that I also added some pearls on the face, but it was just sort of too much going on in the one photo, and I just felt like the audience would be overwhelmed by the texture within the photograph. So I decided to try a more nature backdrop, because I just felt like I wanted the photograph to portray natural beauty. So I thought like nature is also beautiful. So that's sort of how I refined it.
And are you happy with the final product?
Yeah, I really am happy. I love the curves of the photographs because it's really contemporary and modern. And I also incorporated the normal pattern that you see with Burberry, because I feel like if the audience saw that, they really aligned the advertisement with Burberry and the brand. So yeah, I do.
Hello, I'm Andre, and this is my digital version of my media final product. So I decided to do a webcomic exploring the ideology of observing trauma. And basically it focuses on the 7 deadly sins. And what I found is that each sin is associated with one colour of the rainbow. So wrath is associated with red, and so on. So I wanted to join those two ideologies together and mix the fact of semiotics with colour with observing trauma. So the title of the comic is called Beyond the Rainbow, which I use to kind of give a false sense of hope with my audience, because rainbows are often associated with kindness, happiness, and little kids looking at the sky and be like, oh look, there's a rainbow. So I wanted to kind of be a bit more promiscuous with the cover with the simple design. I included an effect of a mirror prism, because when light refracts off mirror prisms, they reflect rainbows, which is really cool and obviously fits in with my rainbow theme. So that's the title page. And then the second page is a little quotes page explaining the 7 deadly sins and where they originate from and where that ideology comes from. And then I just have another title page, kind of similar to the front cover, but a little altered. Next, I have a dedication page. I'm just talking about observing trauma. This is kind of meant to act as a way to tell the audience about the themes of the product, while also kind of giving them a warning because trauma is something that is sensitive to a lot of people, but I think something that should be discussed. And then I have the contents here where it outlines each chapter and also outlines the chapters of each of the deadly sins. So moving on is the first page. And the first 2 pages are in grayscale to represent how when you're by yourself or asleep or in your own intimate world, you kind of feel a little isolated, without colour sometimes, a little depressed you could say, and kind of when you wake up and you put in that space, that's when you become faced with the adversity that is prevalent in a lot of people's households. And just turn up. So the third page here is the first of the deadly sins, which is wrath. So I really wanted to explore the trope of physical violence and an unhealthy relationship. For me, it is a real personal story, as I come from a family with a bit of abuse prevalent in my household, which is unfortunate, but something that has made me who I am. So I really wanted to kind of interject my own interpretations and experiences with trauma into it. So a lot of these key elements are things that I've experienced myself. Moving on to the second page, the fourth page, my apologies, the second page of the deadly sins is the orange, which is gluttony. I really wanted to tackle alcoholism and how someone feels that pressure of wanting to take care of the person suffering through that addiction. And that's represented through the main character, Susie, in which she has to observe her parents fighting and the repercussive effects of that with her mum taking her feelings up with alcohol and medication.